Bismillahi assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Beloved students, as we are observing the book week, I thought it would be beneficial for all of us to remind each other from the Islamic perspective how important it is for us to read, how important it is for us to love to read, how important it is for us to keep reading so we can convey and teach others what we learn. As we all know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the Holy Qur'an as a complete code of life, meaning that we can learn everything about our life from the Qur'an. And when we have the Qur'an, to understand the Qur'an, we look at the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the footsteps of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, anyone who followed them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed Iqra as the very first word of the Qur'an, subhanallah. Iqra, read. And this was an order to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when we know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not able to read. And from the story that we know, that when Jibreel alayhi salam came, Angel Jibreel alayhi salam came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked him to read through the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that was a revelation, that was an ayat of Qur'an that was being revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was inside the cave. And long story short, we know that he was asked, sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked by Jibreel alayhi salam, read. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our beloved Prophet, he kept saying that I cannot read. Imagine the first word of the Qur'an is read, the order to read. And to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when we know that he cannot read, even then this order came to read. An order for reading came as the very first. We know Jibreel alayhi salam did not come with the Mus'haf, with the Qur'an, and kept it in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to read. That also didn't take place. So one is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not read, and there was nothing that was placed in front of him and said that read this. So this order for reading is a very, very important order, very, very important instruction. The beginning of the Quran is from there. The beginning of everything is actually from reading, from learning, from teaching and learning, from conveying. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not read, but he was asked to read. The scholars also mention that it was to say to us the order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about reading. Reading, a person who cannot read is asked to read. And imagine if we can read, how much important it would be for us to read. A person, imagine a normal person who can hear Quran is saying read, and that instruction is for that person as well, who in our time cannot read. Obviously Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a very special person, human being, and he was the leader of all the prophets. Him not knowing to read is different than us not knowing to read, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that state that he would not be able to read. And there is a lot of hikmah behind this, which we are not going into in today's discussion. But one thing that we wanted to definitely point out in today's discussion is that if a person is to read or hear this ayat that says Iqra, read. Imagine a person, a normal human being like us, hearing that Allah is saying, listening, that Allah is saying, asking him to read, even though he cannot read. when we compare us to a person who cannot even read and he's asked to read, with us when we know how to read and we don't read. We don't read the Qur'an, we don't read the books that has knowledge, other books that has knowledge of deen, knowledge of science, knowledge of technology, knowledge of medicine, anything that is beneficial for the mankind. So, beloved students, this is a very, very important message for me, for you, and everyone, that the Quran starts with read. Quran starts with the order to read, and our life starts and goes on with this word, which is it revolves around this word, which is read. Iqra. We should love to read. We should love to read Qur'an. We should love to read the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We should love to read the stories of the prophets and Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. And also we should read anything that is beneficial for us. We should love to read and convey. When it is told to a person who cannot read, is asked to read, that also means that this person is now supposed to teach and convey what the person has learned already, even though the person cannot read. So, mashallah, with that, we conclude and we take away with us that it is absolutely important for us as human beings to keep learning and keep conveying and keep teaching and learning each other, so we can, inshallah, grow and benefit, inshallah, and that benefit is, inshallah, can continue until the day of Qiyamah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.